It's time for Baby and Toddler Instructions with host Blythe Lipman. Blythe is a nationally renowned infant and toddler expert who has over 30 years' experience helping moms and dads regain their sanity, teaching them how to survive, and giving them the confidence they need to be the best parents ever. From sleeping, to crying, to potty training, to choosing a preschool, and so much more. If you're a parent, Baby and Toddler Instructions is the show you've been looking for. Now here's your host, Blythe Lipman.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time zone you might be in. Welcome to Baby and Toddler Instructions on this happy third day of autumn. Well, I can tell you, it sure doesn't feel like it here. Yes, it's autumn, but we're still in the low 100s. I think it's going to be 101 today. But we're getting really nice mornings and evenings, and I can't say that the cactus turned beautiful colors like your leaves. But I do like to feel the chill in the air, maybe around March. Anyway, I hope you're having some nice weather and you're starting to get your sweaters out. You know, this time of year, I really do miss the seasons. I love Arizona. I have to say we have great winters, but there are two things I miss, and I've been here over 20 years. I miss the seasons, not the snow part. It's pretty to watch, and I miss the beach. And you probably hear me talking about that all the time if you tune in. But anyway, enjoy your weather, and I hope the flooding and the terrible fires that are in California go away, because this weather pattern can be a little frightening. But I'm not the weather girl. I am here to talk about babies and toddlers. My guest, Sari Powazek from the Dollhouse and Toy Store, and Playtime Oasis will be with us in just a bit. But, of course, I have some things to share with you. Love sharing current events. And if you have anything you want to share, you can call me during the show at 877-864-4869. And, hey, by the way, I want to send big thank you hugs to you, my wonderful listeners. I have over 120 downloads this month. Keep listening. Keep sharing. You can listen to the show on all your devices. I have wonderful guests every week, and I love them all. So if you have any kind of issues with your babies, toddlers, any parenting questions, take a look at the podcast. I've had everybody on you can think of, eye doctors, pediatricians, ear, nose, and throats. Anyway, go to toginet.com. On the right-hand side are the podcasts, and they load really fast. And don't forget to listen to all our other great shows. But let me tell you what I have this morning. A couple of things. First, you know, with all this craziness last week around the new iPhone 6, the Chinese have come up with something that just blows my mind. They are testing sidewalk lanes for cell phone users. It says that they have a divided sidewalk on one of the busiest streets in two lanes, one for cell phone users and one for those that are just not talking on their phone and enjoying what they're seeing in China. It's in southwestern China. The city's called Chongqing. I hope I'm saying it right. Anyway, the cell phone lane is 50 meters long and 3 meters wide, and it has warning signs painted in white on the ground. And it says that the developer came up with the idea because people were bumping into each other. There was a tourist that walked off a pier while doing Facebook. But they also say it's an unsafe gesture. I mean, the road known as the Foreigners Street is a popular tourist attraction in the city because of its faux Western architecture and amusement park in the middle of this road. This kind of sidewalk is not a fundamental solution and could be an indulgence for mobile phone addicts in the long run, says one of the men from the China Daily. But wait to hear this. It's estimated that the number of smartphone users in China will exceed 500 million this year. Whoa! I'm going to have to look up our statistics and see what that is. So all I can say is we all have smartphones. We're all busy. You know what? When you're driving, do not use your cell phone. And when you're walking, you know what? Be careful. If you have to make a call or talk to somebody, go on the side. You know, stand on the side, not where everybody's walking, because it's dangerous. You can fall. I've seen people fall down in the street when they're trying to cross the street because they're not paying attention. People walk into you and get aggravated. So be careful with those cell phones when you're out and about. Also, you know, I share tips from my books each week. From Help My Baby Came Without Instructions and Help My Toddler Came Without Instructions. Anyway, since we're going to be talking about playtime today, which I guess I didn't tell you, we're talking about playtimes and toys and things that don't need batteries. With my guest, I thought I would share a few fun activities to do with your toddler. In Help My Toddler Came Without Instructions, I have a chapter called Mommy, I'm Bored. And you know that, especially on the weekend sometimes when you're busy and there's no school. So I have a chapter, actually I have a chapter with some cooking and books, but this chapter is for your bored toddler, and there's some great things you can do. You know, first of all, have a pajama party on a Saturday morning. Keep your jammies on, everybody, and make a picnic on the floor. Just to do something fun and start your day off right. I know it's the beginning and your toddler may not have said those 3 words, Mommy, I'm bored, yet. But it will start the day off right. Also, you can have an early evening pajama party and have a little dinner. Spread a blanket out, sit down, and have the dinner on the floor. Also, arts and crafts. I love doing arts and crafts with my children when they were young. And I love making jewelry. And if you're a first-time parent and your toddler's, getting to be old enough and they're working with their fine motor skills, get some pasta, some macaroni with holes in it, and some yarn, and let them make some necklaces. You put a knot at each end, and if you want to color it, this is really fun. You can take that white macaroni, make sure they have holes because they're going to put the string through it. Put it in a baggie and put a couple drops of food coloring. Close the baggie, let your toddler shake it up, and you can make it a different color. And then put it on a paper plate to dry. And do that the night before if you're going to be doing the necklaces and the jewelry, because your toddler's going to want to play right away with that. Also, let's talk about My Little Chef. It's always fun to let your toddler help you cook something. If you're making dinner or lunch, I know it takes twice as long, but you're making great memories, and they can always stir. They can always put a napkin on the table. Also, one mom from New Jersey said, this is brilliant. She said, if you're going to let your toddler color, and they love doing coloring, sharpen both the ends of the crayons with a special sharpener. And then if they break it, they don't get upset because they can't use the crayon anymore. And that's for a young toddler. I mean, I love that because they always break the crayons. Sometimes they put them in their mouth. So, stay with them. So I wanted to share those tips from Help My Toddler Came Without Instructions, which is available on Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com, and it's on Audible. So, and also on my websites, mybestparentingadvice.com and babyinstructions.com. Also, one more thing I wanted to share before I welcome my guest. The late Joan Rivers was so funny, and we're going to miss her, because she made me laugh all the time. Anyway, I found the best parenting advice that she said she ever received. When asked who gave her the best parenting advice, she said, my pediatrician, because I was working a lot of nightclubs, and I would come home and I would cry and I would say, I don't see the child because she's asleep. And the pediatrician said, wake her up and spend time together and let her sleep during the day the way you do. And she added, he said, the time together is what counts, not the schedule. And that's what started our real bonding. And I gave birth to my best friend. So, if you have a schedule that's not 9 to 5, whatever it is, or you only have weekend time to do that one-to-one playing, really, really good quality time, it's the time that counts, not the schedule. So I thought that was great. So let me tell you a little bit about my guest, who has children, and she has wonderful grandchildren. Her name is Sari Powazek, and she owns the Playtime Oasis, and she's going to tell us the new name. It used to be the Dollhouse and Toy Store. She has a beautiful store. She has a master's degree in early education, and she believes that children learn best by exploring. She and her husband started their business in 1977. They enjoyed watching their young customers grow up and come back to the store with their children. This year they moved into a larger location, which they not only have a terrific toy store, but they also have Playtime Oasis, which is an indoor play area geared for children 5 and under. And sometimes it's harder to know who's having more fun playing, the adults or the children. And you should see this place. Oh, my gosh, it's wonderful. Talk about being creative and using your imagination. Sari has exercise equipment that are kid size. It's so cute. She has a little treadmill that's a toddler size and an exercise bike, and she has beautiful doll houses. Anyway, Sari, I could go on and on. Thanks so much for being on the show today. Welcome.
You're welcome, and thank you for the nice intro. But I love the ideas that you have for the kids to do with parents. So simple and just fun to sit and play.
You know, it's true, because with all this technology, I mean, the kids, they see it on TV, and of course they want everything, but I used to love to color with my children, sit down with a coloring book and crayons, and now they have all different color crayons and neons and, you know, everything. So I can't wait to talk to you this hour about things that you have in the store and watching, you know, the children play. Let me ask you, did you ever think you'd have a toy store? And by the way, what is the new name?
It's Toys and Playtime Oasis, which is more descriptive of what we are. We're still the dollhouse. We're still everything we used to be, but we're so much better, because with the new location, we're able to do wonderful educational classes, have arts and crafts. We've got free story time on Tuesday morning at 9:30. We're having a Frozen extravaganza, which is just marvelous in conjunction with Storybook Entertainment. I mean, there's just so many more things we can do. We just had Pete the Cat there, and we've got, which is I'm so psyched about, we've got the Real Cat in the Hat by the Seuss Foundation. It took me 6 months to get him.
Yay, when is that?
That is going to be the weekend of October 24th, and I do have everything listed on the enter page on my website, which is azdollhouse.com. Make sure you put the AZ in. It would not be a pretty sight if you do not. But we're just having so much fun doing all of these wonderful things for the children and with the children. And as far as technology goes, technology is great. I had a 3-year-old correct me about what a T-Rex was all about. T-Rexes, by the way, have 2 fingers, not 3. So technology is great if it is used in conjunction with learning, not with just allowing the child to get on it and veg out.
No, you know what? It's so true. And our technology is telling me we're going to break for our first commercial. So before we get into this too much, here comes the music. We will be right back.
We'll be right back with more Help My Baby Came Without Instructions. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet. We'll be right back right after these.
The Woohoo Radio Network presents the Diva Download with Tracy and Tasha. If you think Diva is all about attitude and drama, think again. The Diva Download is the premier online radio program where girls of all ages, shapes, sizes, and colors get together to redefine what it means to be a diva so that all girls can discover their inner diva and develop a healthy sense of self-worth and self-esteem. Being a true diva means you're diverse, involved, value-driven, and active. That's today's diva. If you want to celebrate the girl in your life through education, encouragement, empowerment, and entertainment, join us every week on Tuesdays from 6 to 7 p.m. Central Standard Time and celebrate the essence of being a girl. Only here on the Woohoo Radio Network. Secret Cuisines and Sacred Rituals is a quest, a place, and a feast. Join host Vilasi Venkatachalam every week to explore myths, mystique, old medicine, and brilliant modern solutions through a dazzling kaleidoscope of cuisines, cultures, and cures. This is the place where tribes gather, strangers and familiars, to be memory keepers and makers of our evolving, enduring, evergreen, spoken legacy of wisdom and ingenuity. In Velasi's words, when we do old things in new ways and new things in old ways, we paint with an inspired palette, weave our own healing traditions, and become our own guru. Velasi is a troubadour of secret cuisines and sacred rituals. She collects stories of wisdom, ingenuity, and grit. She believes wellness and transformation happen when you stand at the threshold of delight and discovery. She displays her hidden penchant for drama when she leads the Safari at the Supper Club. Her favorite pastime is to extol the marvels of cuisines, cultures, and cures. To her audience in workplaces, seminars, and salons, her mantra is, be your own guru. She is a biochemist, botanist, and alchemist who likes to churn delightful, useful things from a brew of art and science, ancient and evolving, old medicine, and new cures. Join Velocity every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, only here on the Woohoo Radio Network.
Welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet, the hour for all moms with little ones to come for great advice, encouragement, and great ideas for all new parents. Now, back to the show with Blythe Lipman.
Well, welcome back to the show. I am so excited to have Sari Powazek from the Toy and Playtime Oasis. Did I get it right?
Toys and Playtime Oasis.
Toys.
You
I
sure
said
did.
Toys. Sorry, plural.
Yeah,
lots
well,
of
there's
great
more
toys.
than one toy in there.
Yeah, there are lots of great toys in there. So, did you ever think you'd have a toy store or a wonderful indoor playground like you have?
I never did, but it was something that was always on my mind. I always wanted to do that.
Because I know the little ones are near and dear to your heart. You have your master's degree in early childhood ed, and I'll tell you what, if there's ever an issue, go in Sari's store and talk to her. She's got the greatest tips, along with the toys and the Playtime Oasis. I mean, I've had lots of discussions with her about children and technology, and I'll tell you what, Sari knows her stuff, and you have your little grandsons that you adore. They're getting big.
Yes, they're 4.
Wow.
Yep, we call them research and development. We try lots of things on both research and development. They're 4-year-old twins. They're marvelous.
You know what? It's fun because I remember every time I worked in the infant rooms, I used to say it was my R&D place to go. And they changed so quickly. So let's talk a little bit. Let's start. We were talking about technology before the break. You know, do parents still buy coloring books and crayons? There's still those wonderful things. You have terrific puzzles in your store. I mean, I love doing puzzles with my kids. I wasn't good. They were better. But
well, to me, puzzles and books are not toys. They're necessities in life. If a child is reading or parents are reading to the children, it opens up a whole world of imagination as well as knowledge. And if they're doing puzzles, well, they're working out of the box because it's abstract. If they can think, if they can figure things out, then they can learn. If they can't do that, then all they're doing is memorizing. And we've all been in the memorization stage. I don't remember anything I've memorized. Well, multiplication tables sometimes. But, you know, you need to be able to think out of the box, especially in today's world. Yes, technology is important. Yes, it is necessary for the kids to know how to do it. But it is not necessary for a 2-year-old to sit in a restaurant and be on a cell phone. It's just not necessary. There's so many things that they can play with. You can get them books to look at, wiki sticks to play with, stuff to fiddle with, including the straw. They need to manipulate. They need to have that one-on-one and the eye contact. And fortunately, yes, people are realizing that too much technology is detrimental to their children. The studies are showing that small motor control is lacking because children are not gripping pencils. They're not manipulating Play-Doh. They're not throwing balls the way they used to. They're not handling blocks and, you know, the whole tactile feel. They're also finding out that there's a lot more hyperactivity. Now, some people will say it's because the diagnosis is better. Yeah, that's part of it. But when children are watching fast-moving action electronics, their brain synapses are not connecting. They're short-circuiting. And so they aren't perfecting that technique of following through with an idea because it's cut off in the middle. So it's really important that when you do allow your child to watch something, that it has a beginning, a middle, and an end, something that is very consistent. And, in fact, you know, Pediatric Society says no TV, no electronics before age 2. Well, we know that's not real.
Yeah. really.
But do something very simple that has a beginning, a middle, and let the children follow through. And only do it because you have to, not because you choose to. And have to means you have to make that phone call because you're working at home that day. Something like that. It's more important for the kids to run, to play, to manipulate, to leave a mess on the living room floor. That's what it's all about.
You know, also, if you're going to have them watch TV, pay attention to what you're putting on TV, that it's educational, and sit with them. You know, their teaching moments are right in front of us every second. Ask them about who's on the TV, or can you see the shirt? What color does that person have on? You know, there's so many teaching moments that are so easy and so much fun. And I want to go back to the restaurant for a minute, because I don't know about you, but with my kids, I remember we counted the sugars. Or I asked the wait person to give me an extra plastic cup, and we would count them and put the sugar packets in. And now it's even more fun because we have so many different kinds of, sweet and low and stevia.
Yes,
and
you
the
can
packets
sort them by color now, too.
Right. They're all different colors. So,
it's so important. When you're in a restaurant, you've got that opportunity of no distraction. It's so important to have that one-on-one and that eye contact. And it just makes the children feel special because Mommy and Daddy are focusing on them. They're not getting up and getting something more for the dinner table. Or it's just a different feel.
It is a different feel. And how many times have you been in a restaurant and the child's had the cell phone and they dropped it? And you hear the parent go, and I'm sitting there thinking, well, maybe they shouldn't have had the cell phone. They're in a high chair. Maybe they should. Do they still have the books, that you can paint with water?
Oh, absolutely. Not only do they have books you can paint with water, they have, we have books where you put water in this little paintbrush container, you screw the top on so it doesn't leak, they just scribble all over, the color appears, and when it dries, you can redo it. So, after about 5 or 6 times of doing the same picture, the color starts to fade, but hey, you're getting a lot for your $5 or $6 or $10.
Easy.
You have them going from $5 to $10.
That's easy to put on a high chair tray. Even when you're making dinner, if you have a child in a high chair and you don't want them at your feet, there's great ideas. Sari, do you have an online store?
We do, but not everything is on it. It's on azdollhouse.com.
Because I know a lot of
it takes a long time to put things online.
If somebody can't, I'm sorry, go ahead.
But if you can't find what you're looking for, if you email me, I will be happy to take a picture and shoot off the picture to you.
Great. That's what I was going to say, because my listeners, I have them, they're not all in Arizona. I have many, many in Arizona. Thank you, listeners. But if you're not, if there's something that you want, Sari's great. Call her store, email her, as she said, and I will put all her information on my website.
Yeah, there's just so much out there for the kids nowadays. Arts and crafts. I mean, we have so many arts and crafts that are so easy for the kids to do once you teach them. And even though, for example, the mosaics, they're matching numbers to colors. They're having small motor control. And then, my goodness, you have a wonderful picture that they've created to hang on the fridge or to send to Grandma and Grandpa just because you love them. And especially with the holidays coming now, the kids love the mosaics. They love the plush craft. They love the aquarellium, which is watercolor painting. I mean, and all of these are crafts that these kids can do themselves, starting as young as 3 for some of them. You just have to teach them how to do it, and they just go.
And what do they say? Especially a 2-year-old says self, self, self. They want to do it themselves. So before we talk about the holidays, what are the qualities of a good toy? How do you know you're getting something good? There's so much, starting in a couple weeks, we're going to be bombarded with all the commercials.
Well, first of all, I allowed my child to get something that he saw on TV that he insisted he absolutely wanted, and I said, honey, you're not going to be able to do it. This is a commercial. It's not going to work. And he insisted, and, man, that was the last time he ever asked me for anything from a TV show, from a commercial. A good toy is a toy that, number one, has great interaction with the child. The child is the one that is control of what is going on. The child is the one that's using the imagination. Yeah, we do have toys that you push a button and it does something, but that's primarily in the under 2 age for cause and effect. If you push something, something will light up. If you do this, something will spin. If you turn this, something will pop up. They're still using their small motor control, but at that age, repetition and doing things over and over again are very important. That's how children learn, is by doing things over and over again. That's why they ask you questions, and sometimes the same question over and over again. They're digesting it. So a good toy engages the child in active, creative play. It doesn't entertain the child. So does that make sense?
Yes, you know what? And I like the fact, they do want to be in charge. So it does give them something to be in charge of. And Mommy and Daddy aren't saying, no, you can't play with that. No, you can't do this. You know what? It's theirs. And I love watching, don't you love watching your kids when they come into your store, into your Playtime Oasis, and they figured out how to do something? They're so excited, and they do it 25 more times.
I come in, and I look at the kids playing in Playtime Oasis, and then I look at the mess on the floor and go, oh. Well, the reason there's a mess on the floor is because the little ones are picking it up, and what do? When they're done with it? They drop it. Does anybody care that it's on the floor? No. The next child comes and picks it up. Manipulation, doing things over and over again, running from one thing to the next to explore. I mean, it's marvelous to see these kids in action. And the parents are relaxed because the mess isn't in their house. So it's so important for exploration that sometimes we forget when we're at home because we take a look at the mess and go, oh, my gosh, come on, we got to clean this up. This is crazy. And I don't have time. And then they get frustrated because the child wants to play, not clean.
You know what's funny, too? You're going to clean that up, and as soon as they have time to play again, it's going to all be on the floor. And when you see a mess, you know your child's having the best time. So we're having the best time, too. We're going to have a commercial, and the music's coming. We will be right back.
We'll be right back with more help. For help, my baby came without instructions. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet. We'll be right back right after these.
Baby love, my baby love, I need you, oh, I need you.
In today's business world, a helping hand or idea that doesn't come with an invoice is a treasured find. And if that happens to you, then you need to pay it forward to keep other entrepreneurs from making mistakes or getting a raw deal. It's called Paying It Forward with Josephine Girassi, Wednesday mornings at 10, 9 a.m. Central. Josephine is going to have the guests describe their accomplishments, the lessons they've learned, both good and bad, and then sharing those pieces of knowledge as we create a movement of paying it forward. For more information about Josephine, her business, and background, you can go to mymomknowsbest.com. Josephine Girassi has always been a problem solver. She saw this need and has turned it into a movement. It's Paying It Forward. With tips, tools, and advice, and hard lessons learned, these pieces of knowledge can make a huge difference for you, your business, and others. So join us for Paying It Forward with Josephine Girassi, Wednesday mornings at 10 a.m., 9 a.m. Central on TogiNet.com. I am not the woman I used to be. I'm free with Minister Diane Jones. Monday nights at 10, 9 Central on TogiNet. This is your chance, ladies, to hear stories of hope and healing from someone who's been there. Someone who has fought back from the horrors of incest. Minister Diane's innocence was stolen from her in the land of alcoholism and mental illness, which led to her being emotionally, physically, and sexually abused by her parents. Yet in spite of this trauma, she has gone on to become a successful wife, mother, registered nurse, and minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm not the woman I used to be. I'm Free is a straight-up show to enlighten you and to lighten your load. Do not let the weight of this world or the things that have happened to you control your life. For more on the show and Diane and her book, The Story of Me, email her directly from her show page here on TogiNet. Then, join us for I'm Not the Woman I Used to Be, I'm Free, with Minister Diane Jones, Monday nights at 10, 9 Central on TogiNet.com. Welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet, the hour for all moms with little ones to come for great advice, encouragement, and great ideas for all new parents. Now, back to the show with Blythe Lipman.
Well, welcome back. I'm here with my wonderful guest, Sari Powazek from Toys and Playtime Oasis. Playtime Oasis is an indoor playground, and Sari also, she and her husband have the most wonderful toy store. And I have to tell you, Sari, during the break, I'm looking at your website, which, you know, when you were at the other location, I remember coming in there when I watched a little baby. I started out when she was like 6 months old, and as she started to walk and got closer to the walking age, I would bring her in all the time. And there was there was the nursery. You call it the
Right.
Middleton Nursery with all the babies in the isolettes, in their bassinets. They're so cute. But I'm also looking at your site, too. You know what? There's so many toys. We don't need batteries. You have bowling with Farm Friends, which is so much fun. I mean, kids
Well, and
watch.
not only that, each piece has a number on it. It's weighted on the bottom so it's balanced so the children can stand them up themselves fairly easily. And then they're throwing a ball and hitting the pins, and when they knock them down, they get so excited. And there's hand-eye coordination. And even if it's a 10-minute playtime, it's 10 minutes, and then it's 5 minutes to put it away.
You know what? I found my
cleanup
favorite.
song.
I found my
What's your favorite?
My favorite is the Bake and Decorate cupcake set. I love to bake, and if you have a little one and you like to bake, well, you can give them this set. Tell my listeners about this set. It is so adorable.
Well, you can choose your topping. So you put the different pieces together, and then there's actually markers that you can write on it, and so they can decorate the topping and put sprinkles or whatever.
And this is not
whatever
food.
they want on.
This
This
isn't
not food. This is all part of pretend play for the kitchen. Like you missed the cookies. They may not be online, but we have cookies also.
Oh my gosh, this is so wonderful. You have the best toys. I'm so excited. So how do we get our children through the holiday season? You know, you talked about picking something on a commercial, and then your child never wanted it again because you knew better.
First of all, when my kids were little, they didn't really have anything other than Sesame Street. Nowadays, you have PBS and some of the others, but everybody, except for me because I don't use it, has TiVo. What my daughter does is she actually tapes segments of the Wild Kratts lately has been absolutely marvelous. I watched that with the kids now that they're 4. Just amazing show on PBS. And so she tapes them. So all the kids do, if they want to watch something, she puts on the show, and it's a half an hour, and it's done. There's no commercials. The kids aren't seeing the commercials. They're not being bombarded with buy, because this is what you have to have. So now, you know, we talk about commercial and things like that. We're doing Frozen. We're doing a Frozen extravaganza. But one of the beautiful things about Frozen is it has opened up the fact that boys can now like princesses. It's actually okay. It was always okay for girls to like superheroes, but now boys can like princesses. So there are certain aspects of commercialism that are good. You just have to pick and choose.
Because I'm looking at you have so many wonderful events coming up that
Right.
you have. Now, do you have story time every week?
Story time is every Tuesday at 9:30. It is free. We do hold it in Playtime Oasis section of the store. People must bring socks. They must wear socks. It is a stockless, foodless environment. I mean, a shoeless, foodless environment for safety and for health. And, you know, if they come early, the kids can play for a few minutes before story time. And then if they choose to stay and play afterwards, then Playtime Oasis is $9. They can stay as long as they like. But
Can you
story
tell
time
my
is
listeners
free.
what Playtime Oasis is? We keep talking about it. Can you tell them? I talked a little bit about it.
Absolutely. Playtime Oasis is 2,100 square square feet, roughly, of play area for children. We have the exercise equipment. We have a full kitchen with a dishwasher loaded with foods and dishes and tables, and there's a little, store there. We have the shopping cart. We have dolls and doll beds and plush. We have things to climb on, blackboards, silly mirrors, a train set up, doll houses, magnetic toys, Bristol blocks or Bristol blocks. I mean, just tons of different things for the kids to play with. The goal is for you to actually play with your child, but sometimes it's really important for, especially if you come with a few other people, that children are allowed to play by themselves and interact with each other, because from 2 to 3, they're getting from parallel play to actual interaction. And so you want to give them that opportunity. Plus, it is a marvelous, marvelous place for a mother of a toddler that is in her last month of pregnancy and does not want to chase a toddler. So she can sit on those very comfy couches and curl up with a book while she's watching her child play. Or if she's already had the baby, amazingly, she can actually nurse in peace, because the child is so busy playing, she's not standing in front of mom watching attention while mom is taking care of the baby. So, I mean, there's so many marvelous, marvelous things about Playtime Oasis. Sometimes I just stand there and smile and watch everybody play. It really warms my heart as a grandmother, as a woman who absolutely adores children. It just warms me to see everybody having such a good time.
It's, you know what, it's a wonderful place, and I have to say, many times if you take your children to an outdoor playground, not that there's anything wrong with that, this is different, because
totally different.
You don't have to worry about your child running away, or, many playgrounds are near the street or the parking lot. This is really safe, and it's so adorable. And for those of my listeners that don't live in Arizona, if you're going to come visit, I'm going to put all of the information on my website, babyinstructions.com, and mybestparentingadvice.com. If you come to visit, when you have that snowy weather and we don't, you have to bring your children to Playtime Oasis. It's just so wonderful. Also, if you don't live here, check with your libraries and see if they have story time. And also, we Google everything. We're online. Google and see if you have an indoor playground in your state. But I have to tell you, I am really partial to Sari's indoor playground. I said at the beginning of this show, this little the exercise equipment is so cute. Have you ever seen a treadmill that's child size? It's just so cute.
Well, our goal really for Playtime Oasis, it is, I say this to parents all the time when they come in, they're concerned about bringing their children in to the toy store part. This is their store. We have it geared, so there really isn't much that a child could damage. We expect the kids to come in and look at the cars and handle them and put them on the floor and make them go. We expect the kids to go over to the wild animals and maybe line them up or pick 4 or 5 zoo animals and put them on the floor and create a little zoo and play with it while mom is shopping. These are things that we expect. When we did Playtime Oasis, I woke my husband up in the middle of the night and said, this is what we're doing. He says, we're getting near retirement age. Don't we want to think about downsizing? I said, no, not at all. We wanted you to feel as if you were in your living room. We want you to feel comfortable. And some of the things that we hear when people walk into the store and they look up at the sky and they see the birds and the clouds and the butterflies and even the bumblebees, it's like the sky is the limit for our children. And when you walk through here, we will do our best to make sure that your child, no matter what or where they are in their developmental age, we will make sure to the best of our ability that you have the toys and the tools that you need. The other day, one of my longtime customers, her child had just donated 13 and a half inches of hair for, wigs for children with cancer.
How nice.
And I wrote her and I said, oh, Debbie, you've done such a great job. You've taught her to give from the heart. And she says, thank you. You've taught me so much, too. And I said, no. I said, it's not teaching. It's just sharing of life's experiences. My customers come in if you have a problem. And, this woman, her child didn't like to read. Well, we came up with some games to play, and not only did this little one start reading, she's reading so much above grade level now, it's amazing. Her 3-year-old brother started to read too. So, and it's just through playing simple games. Life is good. Your children are marvelous. They're only with us as children for such a short time. We need to just remember that. And it's you raise them to grow up and go away. Not too far, though, unfortunately.
No, not too far. But, it's
some go too
interesting
far.
because it's all relative. I mean, when I go into homes with a brand new baby, I'll say to the parent, leave the dishes. Take a nap when the baby naps. Or, do tummy time. Get on the floor and don't worry about everything else, because before you know it, your child's going to be going to kindergarten and then high school and then driving the car. And, it's tough. Because when you have those little babies, you think it's going to last forever, and you're so tired, and all of a sudden you're having their first birthday party. So I'm so happy that you're talking about spending the time, because we do have them a short period of time. And also, the fact is not every child is a reader. Like you were talking about the games you came up with. Not every child is going to sit down and read a book. But, to my listeners, like Sari says, there's lots of other things to get them to read. There's games and there's puzzles and whatnot.
This child comes in now and she's always carrying a book.
Wow,
yeah, she's always reading. Mm-hmm.
That's great. Yeah. And, most parents do read, even their babies, they show them picture books, which is so important for learning. But there are a lot of different ways. If your child doesn't want to sit still, and not every child is going to sit down. But I love doing the routines and the rituals and, doing that book together before you put them to sleep every night. It sets that up forever, and it gives both of you something to look forward to. And all I can say is when you do read to your child, or whatever ritual and routine you set up, leave the cell phone in the other room. It's okay. The doorbell rings, they'll come back. I mean, that one-to-one time is just so important, and that's what they remember. So we are going to go to another commercial break, and when we come back, we are going to talk to Sari I want to talk about the holidays and the Halloween fairy and Mensch on the bench and elf on a shelf, because there's so many things out there, and I want to know about the benefits, or they are benefits. Anyway, we will be right back.
We'll be right back with more Help My Baby Came Without Instructions. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet. We'll be right back right after these.
Mobile is the future, and the future is now. Listen in each week, Tuesdays 4 to 5 Central, to Brilliant Mobile Marketing with your host, Mobile Mary, as we simplify the hottest marketing channel, mobile marketing, and share secrets on how you can use mobile to be more brilliant, be more profitable, and have more fun in your industry. Join us each week to learn from brilliant business leaders on how to simply and easily capture a list of raving fans and turn them into loyal customers. This show will help business owners, authors, and speakers realize their own brilliance by tapping into the insights of fellow brilliant business leaders. We will also showcase brilliant tools, both traditional and digital, that will make you more brilliant in everything you do. Don't miss your date with Brilliant Mobile Marketing and your host, Mobile Mary, America's mobile marketing expert, as she shares her success strategies every Tuesday from 4 to 5 Central.
Is there more living for you to do? Yes. Start living inspired. Be here for Living Inspired with Tricia Goyer, Thursday afternoons at 4, 3 p.m. Central on TogiNet.com. Tricia will dig deep into topics that matter most to women, inspiring women to make a change in their own lives and to make a difference in the world, and maybe even deep within their own hearts. Tricia is a wife, mom, speaker, family expert, and author of 24 books. For more information on Tricia and Living Inspired, go to her website, TriciaGoyer.com. That's TriciaGoyer.com. Trisha's vision is to be the voice of hope and possibility for women of all ages. Her intention is to serve ordinary women by encouraging extraordinary things with God's help. Trisha expresses real life, real hope for real women. Is there more living for you to do? Yes. Start living inspired. Living Inspired with Trisha Goyer. Thursday afternoons at 4, 3 p.m. Central on TogiNet.com. Welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet. The hour for all moms with little ones to come for great advice, encouragement, and great ideas for all new parents. Now, back to the show with Blythe Lipman.
Well, welcome back. I can't believe we're up to the last part of the show. It goes so fast. Anyway, I am here talking to my wonderful guest, Sari Powazek from the Toys and Playtime Oasis store. It's wonderful. And before the break, we were talking about, what were we talking about? Everything. We were talking about not using technology. Anyway, I had this in my mind, and I didn't want to forget these characters. There's so many characters. With the holidays coming up, you have the Halloween fairy, Mensch on the bench, Elf on the shelf. Do they add to the season? Is it good? Are these make-believe?
Well, the Halloween fairy is make-believe. And that is something that I got from a customer. So, see, I learned lots of things, too. We do the Halloween fairy at the store, and I will start to push it. And what the Halloween fairy is she comes to your house at night when the child is sleeping. So after everybody goes trick-or-treating, you have all this candy, and you don't want to throw it out, but yet you really don't want your child to have it. So you sit down with your child before he goes to bed or she goes to bed, and you say, pick your favorite candies. You can pick 5, you can pick 10. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put this in a bag, and we're going to put it out by the front door. And the Halloween fairy is going to come and take the candy and bring it to children in other parts of the country that could not go trick-or-treating because they were sick or they just didn't have money for a costume. So now what you're doing is you're telling children there are other children that are a lot less fortunate than you. So you're going to give part of what is yours, and in exchange, the Halloween fairy is going to leave you a little surprise. So it's really a takeoff of the tooth fairy.
I think that's great. So is there a Halloween fairy, or did this mother make it up?
Nope, you just make it up. No one's ever seen the Halloween fairy, just like no one's ever really seen the tooth fairy.
I think that's great, and I have to share something. It's funny because I had a guest on the show a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about Halloween and candy and all that, and she had 5 children, and she said to me, when we come home from trick-or-treating, and of course they're older, she said, I let them eat whatever they want, and they're so sick of eating the candy that they don't even want it anymore. So that was how she made it work for her older children.
Exactly, but you really don't want that either. You don't want them to get sick. You don't want them to be gluttons. But yes, that is definitely a way of getting rid of the candy. But
I
this
love
way
that.
you're teaching the children. Now, if you do that, number one, you can bring it into the store, and we will bring it over to, we usually do a lot with Devereaux, which is the school for children, the residential and day school for children with severe emotional problems. So we do a lot of donations to that school because they really appreciate it. And the kids can't get out and go trick-or-treating. So so we will definitely, bring that over. And we collect it for about a week after Halloween, and then we bring it over. Another thing is the Elf on the Shelf. Well, that is a marvelous way to have fun for the holidays. Plus, it's a marvelous way to help keep your children on a more even keel. Basically, what you do, and the elf has been around for a long time, is every night the elf goes to the North Pole and reports to Santa Claus on whether you've been naughty or nice. Well, I hate this naughty or nice type of thing, but I love using it as a positive behavior modification bit. So, for example, if your child forgets to pick up his toys, don't fight. Just let them go to bed. Guess where my elf would be sitting the next morning? Now, the elf is magical, so you can't touch him, but he would be sitting up on a shelf where the child can't see, looking down at the mess on the floor, and you say to your little one, hey, now they get to name their elf. Hey, I wonder if Tony is going to be able to tell Santa Claus tonight, you remembered to pick up your toys today. Now, what do you think that child's going to do once they understand the concept of Santa Claus and presents? Okay, so rather than yelling to pick up the toys, you're saying, you didn't pick up your toys, I'm so angry. Just Tony's going to be able to tell Santa you remembered. Or suppose you have siblings, and the one sibling did something nice for the other one. Tony is going to be so thrilled to tell Santa that you shared your coloring book today. So it's really, I love it as a behavior modifier, but in a very positive way.
You know, it's funny, too. I'm sitting here thinking, how many times have you heard a parent say, how come they listen to you? They don't ever listen to me. So
well, I'm a stranger.
Yeah.
They will listen to me because sometimes we have kids in the store and they're playing, and I say, when you're all done with that, you are going to put that back for me, aren't you? And they go, oh, yes.
But it's funny because that's the elf. I mean, Tony
Exactly.
the elf is not mom or dad. You're doing it for Tony, which is funny. What's Mensch on a Bench?
Mensch on a Bench is new. Mensch came out last year, and Mensch is for the people that celebrate, for the Jewish people that celebrate Hanukkah, whereas the elf is for the people that celebrate Christmas. So we have so many blended families that people are doing both. And a lot of times right now, because the elf has been around for so long, they say, wow, what a great tradition. And so therefore, if they have 3 children, they're getting 3 elves so that each child, when they grow up and have their own family, will have their elf to take with them.
Okay,
and
so the elf is red. Isn't this elf red?
The elf looks like an elf. It can be a girl elf or a boy elf.
Oh, I didn't know they had girl elves. I remember from years ago.
They came out with girl elves a few years ago.
So let me get this straight. So do mom or dad move the elf around?
Every single night. They put it where it is appropriate. And sometimes you just have the elf getting into trouble. We've had people that have had the elf where they've left like little droppings of flour with the flour on the elf's head, like, oh my goodness, the elf got into trouble. Look what the elf did. The elf made a mess and forgot to clean it up. So you do fun things with it. Now, another thing that I tell my parents, and, I was the mom that we're driving in the car, the kids are fighting, and I go, oh my goodness, I think I see a buffalo out there. And, of course, they'd peer out the window and it would stop the fighting. Well, the elf lives in the North Pole. It's very cold up there. This is your elf. There's no reason. You don't want to use it often. You can only use it maybe once or twice extra. Like in the middle of the summer, the kids are going crazy and they're driving you up a wall. They don't want to go swimming anymore, and they're just out, just driving you crazy. Well, why can't Tony appear for a day or two? It's very cold in the North Pole. He's on vacation. Do you know how fast it's going to whip those kids back into shape for a little bit? And you just do it. It's a fun thing.
And it's positive reinforcement, as you say. It's not negative.
Exactly. No, use him to your advantage, but you can't abuse him to your advantage. Oh, I like that.
I think that's good. A new tagline.
Yeah, exactly.
Use them to your advantage. I think that's good. So let me ask you a question, not putting you on the spot. Do you have a favorite toy?
I have a lot of favorite toys. I do all the buying for the store. Basically, what a favorite toy is I talk to you, I find out what your child likes, and then I will tell you what I love the best in that category. So if you've got an 8-year-old that loves to build, but you're tired of Legos, we might go to Laserpick, which is compatible with Legos, but now you're making things and they light up and they do all sorts of things. Or we might go to Nano Blocks, which is teeny, teeny, teeny tiny Legos, but they depict things and buildings around the world. So now once they spend the time building this, then they can research and study what this is all about. And it's small enough that they can put it on a shelf and collect them. So it really, my favorite depends on what your child likes. And then I will pick my favorite within that category because there are some that I do like more than others.
And I have to say, I remember coming into the store with this little girl last year, and I said, Sari, she doesn't have any puzzles that she can work with. What do you suggest? And you must have had like 6 things off of the top of your head in 1 second. And I know we bought a couple things, and there was one puzzle that made, when you put the piece in, it made the animal sounds that she loved. And
Right.
You know, it was great because you know what, you're so good at what you do. Besides having these wonderful store and indoor playground, you just know, you have the sixth sense when somebody says to you. So
Well, and I hate to say this, but I will sometimes talk you out of buying something. If you say to me, "This is what I'm looking for," and you're holding something in your hand that is not right, that will not fit the bill, I will tell you. I don't want you to take something home that's not right. That doesn't make for a happy camper.
well, with anything, when we go to a store and buy something, I love when somebody says that doesn't really look good on you, because I think, wow, this is nice. You're being honest. So on that note, I want to say we're coming to the end of the show, and I have to say goodbye to Sari from the Toys and Playtime Oasis in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I will put all your information on my site. And remember, if you don't live here, plan a trip. It's worth it. Bring your children and let them come play and buy some toys. The holidays are coming. So, Sari, thank you so much for being on the show. You have a great rest of your day, and I'll come in and visit you soon.
My pleasure. Good talking to you, and everybody have a wonderful day. The sun is shining here, and I hope the sun is shining where you are, too.
Oh, thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Wow. I want to be a kid again and go play. What fun. And Sari has wonderful toys. I just love everything that she has in her store. Next week, I'm going to have a doctor in the house. Dr. Chad Campbell will be my guest, and we're going to talk all about your children's health, your babies, your toddlers, your older children. Flu season's coming up. We have this really frightening virus, the enterovirus, that I'm going to ask him about. It's scaring all of us. And also, Dr. Chad's going to talk about what it's like to be a doctor, a dad, and you know what? He's a great actor. What a terrific voice. I've seen him in many plays, so an all-around guy. Can't wait to talk to Dr. Chad. And remember to like me on Facebook. I do all kinds of posts all the time. I'm on Twitter, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Pinterest, and if you need some parent help, a little coaching, call my office, 480-510-1453. And I'd like to leave you with these little gems today. Remember the day you brought me home and you were filled with joy, says the toddler? Go to that place now, because I just drew all over the wall and put your lipstick on the dog. And as Phyllis Diller said, cleaning your house while your kids are still growing up is like shoveling the walk before it stops snowing. Well, isn't that the truth? That's what we just talked about. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I want to wish all my Jewish friends a happy and healthy New Year, since it's the first night of Rosh Hashanah tonight. And I want to wish you all a great rest of the week. Take that time to do the one-to-one play with your toddlers, with your babies. It's really easy. Give them some pots and pans to bang on if they're little. All kinds of toys that don't need batteries or technology. So I'm so happy you tuned in. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.